a shot! What a round, what a fight this has been!
Fight of the night, fight of the year!
You have witnessed history here tonight.
Seriously, who's gonna stop him? It's hammer time, the main event of the kickboxing industry, whatever the discipline, wherever it happens. We've got it covered. News, reviews, previews, fights, features. The hammer himself, Mark Castanini. I'll start with this one. 2013, where are we at in terms of domestic fighter quality?
Andy, at an all-time high. The world's greatest sport, in my opinion, with some of the most well-disciplined and conditioned athletes, great talent, Australia, overseas. It's never been better.
A massive half hour ahead. Let's check out what is on the show. Some big names and big frames return to the ring. Shane Meads and also Stu Mackinnon are back and in style. We also look at Kings of Combat and in full the main event, Steve Moxon and Jabbar Askarov. Cannot wait. In fact, those two main event guys here together, hopefully with you in between, next week.
Well, that's something I'm really looking forward to. Of course, both men at their prime, and it was such a hyped fight. The internet went off about it.
Yeah.
The gyms, the fans, everyone was really looking at that fight with a lot of anticipation. And you know what? We got the exclusive. We've got them in here talking about their thoughts before and after. It's going to be huge.
Plenty of happenings on the local scene. Let's start with Sydney. Let's start with Immortality 4. Great to see Shane Meads back in the ring. Hammer?
Well, of course, Meadsy, he was always a crowd favourite. Big hitter, brought so much energy and aggression when he fought, and he's right back to it where he left off.
It's been 4 years since he last fought. That was a loss to Eric Nosa, but it doesn't seem like 4 years.
No, it doesn't seem like 4 years at all. And of course, Eric Nosa is a very credible super heavyweight. So Meadsy, you know, good to see him back and good to see him throwing down with so much power.
The heavyweight scene could do with a Shane Meads at the moment.
It certainly can, and we look forward to seeing a lot more of Meadsy back in.
At the moment, Shane Meads, well, the plan is immortality in November, yes or no?
Well, it certainly is. They've got him on the planning, but they're going to see how he comes off this one, see how his training and his prep goes, and of course, who's going to step up to fight him as well.
The Mackinnon boy is back. Not Steve, but Stu, after a 5-year absence. It was great to see this family member, the fighting family, back into it. Trained with Steve for the Carnage 2 fight, got fit, got ready, and like most of you fighters, you never lose that boat.
You never lose the fire, and we're seeing the vision right now, and the big thanks to Paris Productions for the footage. But Mackinnon got the burning desire back after prepping Steve, and you know what? Again, 39 years of age, have a look at him. Power pack, such great skill, mixed it up on all levels, and I was really pleased to see Stu, one for the old fella, see him back in centre ring and doing what he does best.
His opponent, a WMC title holder in New Zealand from ETK Gym, Josh Hedder, he didn't pick a kill or an easy fight to return to.
No, and that's testament to how the crew from the Bulldog Gym are. You know, they step up, they fight anyone, anywhere, and so much admiration for Stu for doing that. There would have been so much pressure on him to step into this fight. He's the boss of the gym, so you know everyone looks up to him for inspiration, guidance, technical advice. And if he doesn't deliver, you know, it can be quite harming. But he did, shoulder injury aside, no problem. He put pain to the back of his mind and just delivered what he's done in the past.
Look at that. Now, there was question marks, and there always is when you're 40 years of age. Question marks over endurance, over fatigue, and if you've still got that natural power. All 3 boxes ticked for mine anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, he said he's still got the desire. He still wants to do it. He's going to see how that shoulder injury comes up. And I've got a very similar injury myself. So, you know, there's a number of treatments that are available to him. You've got to try it and see how you go. So I look forward to seeing a lot more of Stewie back in. You know, he was one of my favourites and he still is. So.
You're not making a comeback, are you, from that bad shoulder?
You never know what can happen.
Couple that are making comebacks and have successfully over the last couple of months, John Wayne Parr. When JWP, the legend, first retired, we had to ask the question, is this legit and well, how long will it last? He's back and back in style, and I think it's great for John. I think it's great for his family, his gym and the sport in general up against Mossy Abdullahi. We will have John Wayne Parr join us here in the studio in a couple of weeks' time. I can't wait to get a great insight.
Well, JW is, you know, he's the ultimate showman. He's the face of the sport these days, and he delivers on every level. Such a good ambassador for the sport, and he's still got it. You know, he still brings it into centre ring. You've got Marco PK coming up, and I look forward to hearing what he's got to say. The retirement, in my mind and in our mind, we spoke about it. It was never really going to be long term. We knew that. He finished on a high, so. You know, as we said, it was just a matter of time.
Now, across the country, Kaylie Reese returning, not only an unbelievable fighter, but this young lady, wife of the Riddler, the great Darren Reese, a great ambassador for our sport. And I've got to say, from my opinion, outside of the ropes, being an ambassador for our sport is equally as important as being an athlete inside it, as it stands.
She represents so well, Andy.
Yep.
You know, on every level. You know, she's feminine. She's got excellent technical ability. She puts it together. It's that one complete package that I think every female fighter should aspire to be like. Should aspire to be, you know, like her on all levels. You know, she's fought through some injuries. And one of the interesting points when we spoke to her was that actually out of her first 4 fights, she lost 3. So there's the resilience in attitude, mental, you know, ability to come back from that. You know, you've got to fight the demons in your head and go, really, is this sport for me? And she's done that, and she's come out with not 1 but 4 world titles, and, you know, women's named the female fighter of the year last year. It doesn't get any bigger than that.
Hammer, I think the next generation of the sport is in great hands when you've got, and I'll just pluck a few names out, but Kaylie Reese, John Wayne Parr, the Mackinnon boys, Nathan Corbett, older statesmen of the industry around to guide inside and outside of the ring this next generation.
Yeah, the older generation, well, you know, the mid-generation is still there, and there's so much young talent coming up, so much exciting young talent that we're going to be looking at. And, you know, the sport is really just increasing in profile and professionalism as well, I think. You know, everyone's sort of rising to the occasion.
One of those professional nights was Kings of Combat 9 recently in Melbourne. Of course, we're going to take a look at the main event a little bit later on in full. Let's take a look at the undercard, however, and it begins with Burak Hassan and Campbell Taparahu. Burak, huge raps, a past, and a great name in Aussie kickboxing.
Of course, Burak Hassan, the son of Jamal Hassan, and Jamal has trained so many great fighters, you know, Gurkhan Ozkan, Tibet Hamza, so many. Now he's schooled his son, of course, a silver medalist in the Olympics, and Burak Hassan is going to be one of those new blood that we're talking about, exciting. Here's the full package. He can kick. His hands are coming up nicely now. You look out for Burak Hassan. He's going to be something big. He's
going to be well guided into the future. How would you like to see him guided over the course of the next 18 months?
I think slow and steady is going to be the way to go for Burak. He's been on the world stage fighting, you know, in the Olympics. The nerves, they're taken care of. You know, stepping into a ring like the Kings of Combat is one of the biggest events in this country. There'll be a lot of nerves associated, you know, to any fighter getting into the ring on that show. But Burak, he was so cool out the back. I mean, we were warming up. I had one of my guys on that show as well. We were at the back. Burak, he was just chilling out the back. He was so comfortable. It was just another day at the office for him. And that is a dangerous sign for his opponents because they'll be all nervy and, you know, maybe unsettled out the back. And he's just chilling out the back and ready to do business. And that's a dangerous thing for his opponents.
Speaking of your boys on the show, Hammer alludes to Chris Herrington, who went in undefeated, and the Butcher by trade and very much by nickname. He remains undefeated. Quality performance, I thought.
It was indeed. You know, he fought Everard Augustine, and Everard weighed in a little bit heavy for that fight. He struggled to make weight. We came in under, Everard came in over. We had a game plan, and you know, the Butcher executed it so well. 14 wins, no losses. He's got a perfect record and a WKN Australian title now, so I'm really happy with his performance thus far.
Where to next for Chris?
Well, he's fighting for a WMC title soon. He's got an elimination fight on Knees of Fury 40. So I'm, you know, sort of slowly but steadily building him up. You know, there's no use rushing out to, you know, overmatching, you know, your guys. You need to have a clear plan, a clear thought process. and not throw fighters into the deep end. They're really eager to get in and fight anyone, but you really have to evaluate where they are at any given time and match them, you know, that way.
Ben Kelleher was on the undercard up against one of the real crowd favourites in Razor Ray Domachki. We've seen Ray over the course of the last 18 months, and I don't think a fight's disappointed.
Well, Razor Ray's the ticket seller on the Kings of Combat, you know, card. They love him, you know, on the Kings of Combat events. And Ben Kelleher from Darwin, he came down. It was a rematch.
Yep.
Kelleher, you know, rose that little bit. Ray looked in great shape. He came in really well prepared this time. You know, last time he was a little bit underdone. This time he's come in perfectly. But Kelleher he knew he had to really rise and push Ray in front of his home crowd. You know, he had it all against him, the boy from Darwin, but, you know, he got the nod.
Ramesh Habib and Hamish Dempsey, they did their thing on what was a stacked undercard in front of a stacked joint. I mean, there wasn't a spare seat.
Well, the Kings of Combat shows, they're just packed every time, and the events are getting bigger and bigger. And there's Dempsey doing his best impression of a Klingon with that big hematoma on his head. He got elbowed first. That started the damage. Then the shin. You know, they had to stop the fight because when you get a knock that big on your head, if it gets any more impact, it'll just pop and, you know, it'll be a bit bloody, to say the least. So the fighter's welfare is always paramount, and Ramesh had his hand raised, and an exciting prospect as well.
Big Gul Pahatu completed the undercard, and rarely does a moment or a match disappoint when the big unit's on.
Well, everyone loves the super heavyweights. They like to see the big bombs fly. You know, I suppose what they lack in sometimes in finesse and speed, they make up for with heart and grunt and just raw power. And, you know, that's really what Gul Pahatu delivers all the time. He just brings it to centre ring. And, you know, fighting one of the boys from the EFG gym up in Sydney, you know you're going to have a tough fight. And it was toe-to-toe, and they let the leather fly, and I'm surprised those gloves just didn't pop under the impact.
So the undercard taken care of. It was the highest possible quality. After the break, the main event in full. It is Stone Cold Steve Moxon and Jabbar Askarov. Welcome back to Hammer Time, our comprehensive look at the world of kickboxing, the spotlight firmly on the domestic scene. And so far in 2013, the biggest fight of the year, Steve Moxon, Jabbar Askarov. These two guys, a ton of talent, a ton of respect, and they liked each other for a while, but when the bell rang, that all changed.
Well, it certainly did, Andy, and a ton of talent and a ton of respect and a ton of power. They were just... You know, it was just like a bomb ready to go off. Jabbar, of course, is a power pack fighter who always, you know, is on the front foot and aggressive. Steve Moxon, very technical.
Let's take a look at the maths that matter and the experience. Look at this Jabbar. 111 fights for 81 wins. The knockout percentage, though, firmly in favour of the man they call Stone Cold Steve Moxon, who over the last couple of years has split time between boxing and kickboxing. He is back and with a vengeance. Here he is, Steve Moxon, coming off a couple of losses in A1 to Johan Leiden and Glory 5 to the very talented Jordan Watson. This is Jabbar Askarov, a 5-fight win streak, Hammer, and a dude you don't want to screw with.
I think Jabbar came into this fight really, really confident. He has a similar fighting style to Jordan Watson with a whole lot more power.
It is Askarov in the black gloves, Moxon in the red gloves. Two natural right-handers at middleweight and very much mirror images physically of one another.
Very true, Andy, very true. You see Jabbar here, he's fighting in southpaw. Now, the strategy behind that was for Jabbar to switch stance and attack Moxon's back leg. Start to chop out that back leg. You see, Steve, they're just chipping away at the lead thigh. Obviously, the rear thigh is never as conditioned, so the impact, you know, change is a lot different.
Hammer, do you like that theory to start a fight with, or do you develop into that theory?
Personally, I like to I suppose, evolve into it. And,
Yeah.
and when you're under pressure, change if you've got the ability to do so, because it's really going to throw your opponent. They need to step outside your lead foot. They need to change their positioning when they're fighting an opposite, I suppose, stance fighter.
Good jab there from Askarov. Good kick to the midsection. Again, coming through with the straight left hand. And that's the theory when you're fighting a mirror opposite. You go get your lead foot on the outside and create the angle. Straight hand down the pipe.
Straight down the middle. Also, big left hook is going to be a weapon of choice for Java. That big left around kick. You can see him now just trying to tenderise the back leg and inside thigh of Moxon.
Tenderise?
Trying to shred it.
Yes, absolutely.
But Steve's, that's a clever fight plan that Moxon and Dave Ashmore have composed for this one. Up on the balls of the feet, moving around nice and light. You see him circling away from the power side of Jabba now, so he's had to change his lateral movement, so he stays away from that left hand. If he circles to his right, he's going to go straight into that left.
Hammy, you're probably going to see the markings and the bruisings more so on Jabbar than you are Moxon because of the skin tone. Look at the welts on the legs of Jabbar Askarov already. Oh, crippling! Crippling!
Big bombs. Jabba Askarov, formerly known or currently known as Mr. Bomb, that's his fight moniker, and you'll see why he really loads up on that big left hand. I also think Jabba's hands, because he hits so hard, his right hand is actually a little bit damaged. He's broken it a number of times in his 110 fight career. So
broken his nose a couple of times too, I think you'll find.
It's the alternative to cosmetic surgery for me would be to maybe go to where Jabba's been in the fight game. But you'll see him just chopping away. And as I said, with that right hand, now it's the lead hand, so he's not going to be able to power up as much with it. So it's going to protect that damaged hand perhaps as well. But you know what? When he's in the studio and they're in here with us, we're going to be able to ask him all of these great questions. So I'm looking forward to that.
I've got a great plan. I'll ask him the easy ones, you ask the tough ones, and I'll go and grab some lunch. What a quality opening round this is.
And score it. You know, it's been such a close fight, Andy. I think everyone needs to be scoring it as they watch the shots be thrown.
Hammer, I'm as basic as they come. I can commentate and I can score, but I can't do two things at once. I'll leave it to you. As the boys trade outside thigh kicks. Looking for the inside of the knee there is Askarov. Moxon finds the outside. Look at the legs of Jabbar already. He responds in kind. Sticking with that southpaw stance. Southpaw, for those of you that aren't familiar with the fight game, it's left-handed. It's right hand and right foot first.
Moxon jab inside thigh. Jabba big round kick off the left leg and again to the body. He's keeping the work rate up in this round. A little bit slow to start in the first, but now look at that beautiful push kick. Measures long, keeping Moxon on the outside. But Steve's smart. He'll get in. He'll ping away. He'll get the points up and move. I think their strategy is going to be hit and run to some extent, or combination move. And don't make it a game of tennis, a game of back to and fro. Throw the combinations, move, and don't be in front of Jabba for the counter shots.
Absolutely. Moxon there taking one just a little south. I don't think it was a direct hit on the box, but a glancing blow nonetheless. Enough to take your breath away.
Moxon, big body rips, uppercut.
Oh,
Jabba
good.
answers, big overhand.
Again, the countering from Jabbar. It looked $1 million. Coming through the middle, Jabbar dominating this round, you could suggest. The boys are really letting him go here.
Of course, this fight under K1 rules, which of course is no clinching, only knees, one knee with one clinch, so they can't hang on and grapple and knee at each other. It's got to be quick exchanges, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Big shot from Jabba off the left. A jumping knee.
Launched himself on the right knee towards the jawline of Steve Moxon. Moxon with a three-punch combination, trying to create a little bit of space, a little bit of room upstairs, so then he can change levels, but it's Jabbar with that left hook again.
Well, Moxon just bread and butter technique, keeping it basic, not taking any risks. He's got his guard up nice and high, protecting his jawline.
Do you have to take risks against Jabbar? Such an experienced campaigner.
It will become a statistic very quickly if you do. Nice catch and takedown, but Centre referee Ignatius Missalides is giving Jabbar a warning for that, saying he's not allowed to do that. And this is where some of the conjecture comes in, Andy, where under glory rules and under some of the European fight events,
Yep.
you're actually allowed
You're allowed
under
to.
K1 rules to catch and take down. They've obviously deemed it not allowed in this fight. Oh, nice uppercut and hook, Jabba.
Jabba again, fighting right in the pocket. And here's Moxon responding with a couple of beauties. Looking up high. Jabba! The shot, the return from Moxon. High quality, high power, high energy. 2 rounds down.
Well,
1 remain. 3 3-minute rounds. The boys tap them up. Here we go.
this is such an enthralling and such a close fight. You know, on the night, it seemed to have a bit of distance between the two fighters, with Moxon being the busier of the two. But looking at this vision now, you know, I've got to say, I've got respect for what Jabba threw out as well. Big shots, and he's matched it nicely, but Moxon just keeping the work rate up, pinging away, throwing the shots out, good lateral movement, bouncing on the balls of his feet. That's textbook stuff from Stone Cold Steve Moxon. Jabba trying for the inside thigh, Moxon the return counter overhand. Straight left, Jabba.
He's dominated the middle section of the ring for the majority as Jabba, and ring generalship often goes a long way in scoring bouts for the 3 ringside judges.
You've got to score aggression too, so as you're watching this fight, you score the kicks, you score the punches, and you score aggression. Under K1 rules, under normal Thai boxing or mod Thai rules, kicks score higher than punches, but you know, a lot of the experts are saying under these rules, punches and kicks should score the same.
Yep.
So, you know, how are you scoring it at home?
It is down to opinion, and it's the most wonderful part of our sport, but also the most frustrating and controversial. But that's what it is.
It is, yeah. Nice knee on the exchange from Jabba. Moxon fires, counters with the hands.
Contender Asia superstar Jabba, who now resides, the former Russian, now resides in Melbourne. Proud Victorian, so too Moxon.
Tell you what, I've trained alongside Jabba at the WMC camp in Koh Samui, Thailand, and his work ethic in the gym is like something you've never seen. The only person that comes close to his work ethic that I've seen is the Sting Paul Slawinski. They're absolutely unbelievable.
Been to Koh Samui in the WMC camp, but didn't train there, had a beer at the bar across the road. Final moments of Askarov and Moxon. How are you seeing it? Oh, Jabba looks for the big bomb of a right hand. Good defensive awareness from Moxon, despite the fact fatigue well and truly set in. Moxon
Firing back, and it's been that constant work rate, inside, outside thigh, straight punching from Moxon that will probably make the decision on the judges' scorecards be looking favourable for him. But Jabba aggressive, walking forward, big shot off the left, big switch round kick, pushing the pace all the way down to the final bell now, Askarov.
Spinning back fist from Askarov.
Oh!
Spinning heel kick.
He's pulling out all the tricks in the dying moments of the third round, Askarov. The crushing Russian, Jabba Askarov, the crowd favourite here.
He's trying to do exactly that.
Oh!
Moxon down. Slip rule. And bell sounds. Both guys raise their hands. Now that's 9 minutes of action.
Well, of course, they both thought they won it, and looking at that vision, it's easy to see why.
Look at the faces of the two guys.
So close.
Both are confident.
Judge scored the contest 28-29 to the blue corner.
1 point.
1.
Your second judge scored the contest 28-29 to the red corner.
1 point.
We're split.
Scored the contest is the judge scored the contest 28-30. Declaring your winner, blue corner, Stone Cold Steve Moxon!
Victory to Steve Moxon, 2 points on the scorecard, and Jabba Askarov not happy. In fact, he is filthy centre ring. No dramas for Steve. Oh, Jabba letting that right leg go. And there's one for the lip readers. Jabba Askarov, filthy. I understand the emotion, don't like the execution.
I tell you what, Andy, looking at that vision, as I said, I was there on the night, I saw the fight, and I thought Moxon was busier from that perspective. But looking at that, it was such a close fight, and Jarbo really did land a lot of big punches and big kicks.
3 rounds. Why? Why not 5? It had 5 written all over it.
Well, it did, and, you know, Jarbo's used to fighting 3 rounds, and I suppose he thought he could take care of business in those 3 rounds with Moxon. Moxon fought a very clever fight. He moved. He was up on the balls of the feet, scoring at range. Didn't stand in front and exchange. Just kept it in his realm. And it was a smart fight from Steve Moxon.
Plenty coming up on the local scene over the next couple of weeks. We're heading back to Adelaide, South Australia. Knees of Fury number 40, the longest running series in Aussie kickboxing. Kim Johnson, Luis Regis. That is Saturday, May 11. On June the 1st at the Logan Metro Centre in Queensland, Muay Thai at the Metro number 6, Aaron TS2 Lee. He is the main event there, but it's the main event guys from the show we've just seen. Jabar Askarov and Steve Moxon both in the studio. Kaylie Reese, a profile on the West Australian, she's back. And Hammer takes a look at the front kick, the do's, the don'ts, the whys and the why nots.
Well, the push kick, the most basic kick in the trade, and some great insights there.
A big first week. We're here every week. We'll catch you next Wednesday on Hammer Time.